What up, LinkedIn world? Dan Palmeri, cbre Las Vegas, one of my favorite peeps, here to talk about first half 2024. So, state of the market. What's your name?
My name's Lauren Wilmore. I'm a born and raised native of Las Vegas, Nevada, and I'm 5 years in the business on the industrial side.
Listen, you're not supposed to answer all my questions without me asking the questions. 5 years on the industrial side. Tell us a little bit about your team.
We're a 6-person team, so we've got 5 brokers and a client service coordinator coordinating all of our efforts.
And what do you guys focus on? The whole valley?
We focus on the whole valley and primarily industrial product.
Perfect. All right, let's grade the first half of 2024 Barstool Prez style.
I'd say from January to end of March, we saw a really low scoreboard. I think probably some of the worst pizzas you've seen across the nation.
Yeah.
About like a 3.0.
Wow.
But really over the last 2 months, we've really seen an uptick of activity, and I think that's primarily attributed to all the new development. We've got a ton of new development across the board,
Okay.
which has been exciting from a tenant standpoint because they now have options. They don't have to settle, which is huge. And from a concessionary standpoint, they feel like they've got more leverage with the current conditions.
First time in really like the last 4 or 5 years, right?
First time in the last 4 or 5 years. So we've been very active over the last 4 years. Over the last 2 years, we've added about 20 million square feet of new construction.
That's wild.
And we plowed through that, so developers were really keen on adding more. And to date, we've got about 65% of what we delivered over the last 2 years currently in the pipeline under construction. So that's about 13.3 million square feet of options that tenants have to pick from.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, but it's great.
Being a tenant guy, it's always nice to have the leverage versus being like, take it or leave it.
Yep.
So I'm a big fan. Any significant deals or news from your guys' side?
News, I guess. Well, there's lots of news.
Yeah.
Can't talk too much about deal flow, but I think we've definitely seen a heavy concentration of manufacturing users enter the market, which is exciting.
Yeah.
We really wanted to see an uptick in those types of users enter the market, and it really has been dominated by e-commerce and 3PL users. So we're excited to see that transgression to a wider array of much needed goods and services being built in our market rather than elsewhere.
So from that manufacturing standpoint, is that stuff staying here in the valley or is it being distributed across the Southwest?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
I think you're starting to finally see an uptick in cold storage development. We're working with a few developers now that have finally found pieces that make sense.
Yeah.
So you'll see that in the near horizon. And with cold storage, it's a completely different animal for clearance.
Okay.
They store on cubic square feet, and climate control is vital. So we saw a new change last year where if you didn't have your developments approved by November 1st, you're now going AC.
Right.
There's pros and cons to that, but the pro for a food user is we now have the product available for them to store.
Without them having to really pay for that, because now that's kind of the developer standard.
Yeah, so that's huge. I mean, 2 years ago, you were looking at $20 a square foot just for the HVAC alone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah, so the big thing here in Southern Nevada, there was a push through legislation to get rid of swamp coolers because of water, but all the HVAC will now affect power in a much bigger capacity.
Yep.
These things you don't think about.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the rest of the year?
I'm pretty bullish on the rest of the year.
Good.
I think we've finally seen levels of hope with the construction progress.
Okay.
It seems across the board our developers are remaining bullish. They're continuing with delivering the product, which tells us the demand is still there.
Yeah.
I think what we're really going to see this year, particularly in North Las Vegas, is record absorption levels because that's where the bulk, you've got 42% of what's under construction concentrated in that pocket.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be at the landlord's level of expectations, but you're definitely going to see more tenant concessions going out. In fact, it's got to be more tenant incentives thrown out in the market, less broker incentives, especially in that pocket.
Yeah.
And I think if we collectively really educate on that level, there will be a mountain of deals done.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
What are you telling your clients?
Buy, hedge against inflation. Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, because I think Vegas, the one thing I'm telling my clients, I'm on the office side, but we're essentially out of land, right? I think the bigger pieces, the industrial developers or the multifamily and residential developers have picked that up. So I'm not sure we'll see prices ever get much cheaper than what they're at today just because
we're at the coastlines.
Yeah, we're on an island.
Yeah.
So
I think you'll see that discount once we start getting, the biggest issue that we've got against us is we're waiting on BLM. It's their timeline for what they want to actually give up outside of the boundaries. So we're really looking out east towards El Dorado Valley for new industrial developments. We're going to put 150 acres to market out there next week.
Wow.
And that's the only site within that size range anywhere along the east, west, north, south portions of the city that you can find that. And you'll be under $10 a square foot on that deal. So it's unheard of.
That is
especially
unheard
for
of.
infill locations that you can find. Even on a 10-acre basis, you're paying well over $25 a square foot, not including utilities.
Yeah, which makes a deal hard to pencil.
Extremely hard to pencil.
Yeah. Yeah, for most of you outside Nevada, the state of Nevada is over 80% federally owned. And so I know we're fighting through Congress right now on a Lands Bill Act to try to get the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, to churn out land more frequently and easier to increase, development and progress here in Southern Nevada. So we'll see. These cool things you learn about and get into once you get into this industry that being in the restaurant business could care less, right?
Yeah.
But for us on a day-to-day, it's big stuff. All right. You're a Vegas native.
Yep.
Non-chain restaurants. What's your favorite dish in Las Vegas?
That's a tough one. I might have to pick that pistachio cream pesto from Gitanos.
Come on. No.
Probably the scallops from Vintner's Grill in Summerlin. That's my spot.
Vintner's is great.
Yep.
It's something
Can't
that
go
people always don't kind of remember that's out there, but in an office building in Summerlin, it's been
Best
there.
service, best food. You can't go wrong with the people,
Great patio
too.
when the weather's nice.
Yep.
But beautiful restaurant for lunch and dinner, Vintner's Grill.
Yep.
I like it. I got to throw that back in my rotation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Lauren Wilmore, industrial expert extraordinaire. If you have questions about the industrial market in Las Vegas, give her a shout. Have a great day.
Happy Friday.